man who's a pet's best friend on Long Island, Dr. Jonathan Greenfield.
Hi, and welcome to another segment of The Family Pet. Hope you've all had a lovely holiday week. As a matter of fact, except for the little bit of snow we had at the beginning of the week, it was a very pleasant week. Speaking of snow, I wish that you, please, if you're going to walk your animals out in the street, please be very, very careful, because the automobiles, they really don't have full control, and unfortunately I have seen animals being hit by a cart even though they were on a leash. So please, until the snow and ice disappears from the streets, walk your animal in the backyard. If you need to keep them on a leash, fine, but don't let them out in the street. It's very, very, very important that we don't do that. Also, I'd like to send along a thanks to Bob and Eileen Burke. Bob and Eileen Burke were from Future Promise. If you remember back a while ago, we had some beautiful exotic cats on the show, and I certainly want to thank them for their lovely holiday card. They sent along some pictures of some of the beautiful animals that they are now presently working on. This is an African serval, and they also sent along a pair of lynx, and also some of their little leopard cubs that they're working with. Beautiful little animals. These are people who are working with feline research and trying to hopefully prevent extinction of some of these cats working up in Connecticut. So we certainly thank them for their note. If you think these pictures are special, wait till you see and meet our next guest. This gentleman is really going to show you how to take the animated, beautiful pictures of your pet. I'd like to introduce Mr. James Westphalen. Jim is from Brookhaven, and Jim is if you can catch this down on paper, a professional pet photo portrait artist, a PPPPA. I made it up, Jim. Sorry. I thought it was kind of good. I thought it was kind of good. Jim, thanks for coming on and giving up a lot of your time to talk with us about photography. Basically, when we're talking about taking pictures of our pets, where do you begin? Well, what's the first thing we really should consider?
First thing you should consider is to have patience. You have to have lots of patience. It's not just going to happen. Once you're ready to photograph the animal, there are a few things you actually have to do before you start. One thing, let the animal get acquainted with you. Now, of course, if it's your pet, you don't have that problem. But when I photograph animals, I let the animal get to know me and my equipment as well. Something as small as the click of a shutter or the flash going off can startle the animal. Hit your flash a few times just to let the animal know that it's not going to hurt it, and let the animal really get to know you first.
What about in terms of, let's say, visualizing your animal? Or in other words, what's the best way to shoot my animal? Does an animal have a right and a left side as people do?
As the pet owner, you will know your best side of your animal. When I photograph animals, I do take a look at the animal all around first, see which is its best side. But certain things to remember when you're photographing an animal, actually common problems that people have when they're photographing animals, would be, number one, the angle of the shot. Don't stand up and take a picture of an animal downward. Get down to the angle of the animal. Otherwise, you're going to give a very foreshortening look. Also, when posing the animal, try not to have the animal all in the same plane. Now, what I mean by that is have the head pointed, say, at the camera, and the body of the animal pointed at a slight angle to you. It gives much more depth to the picture. If you have a photograph, you're photographing a shot, the animal looking straight at you and his body straight at you, it just gives a very one-dimensional look. Not as objectionable as the side view, animal looking to the side and his body pointed to the side, but again, you'll get a lot more depth if you photograph it.
I think we have some do's and don'ts pictures to show. There's a little Samoyed puppy here.
Okay, now here, starting backwards. This is fine. You're down at a very low angle, as you can see. Actually, I'm on my belly here, and if you're going to take good animal shots, you got to be willing to get a little dirty. Notice the animal's body there is off to the side, and he's looking right at the camera, and it's a nice portrait. Now here's a shot. You see the animal's body is pointed in one direction, the same direction as the head. It gives it sort of that one-dimensional look, not that much life to the animal.
And you don't really see the whole face. You're missing part of the face there.
Now here's a shot. The body is facing straight towards the camera, and essentially so is the face. again, one-dimensional. Also, looking at this picture, one other problem, you can see the animal is noticeably winded. Animal is running around first, and you can see the tongue is out a little bit too far, and its ears are back. It's really not a natural shot. Okay, now this shot isn't bad. The animal's body and head are in different planes, but again, you're looking down on the animal, and compositionally it just works much better if you're down on its angle.
Now, you mentioned before about the animal breathing heavily, and we talk about grooming the animal just before, we were talking before the show started.
Right.
Get your animal beautiful and groom him just before the pictures, but you said that's not what you want to do.
No, that's not a good idea. If you take your animal to the groomer and bring it home, more often than not, it's going to be very hyper. And it's not going to want to sit still for photographs, and there's no reason that you should have to subject the animal to any more punishment for one day. Wait a day or so until the animal is relaxed. It'll still look just as good the next day, and then you can go about taking your photographs.
We're going to be right back in 60 seconds, and we're going to give you a lot more tips on how to take pictures of your family pet. Hopefully you still have the Christmas tree up, and you can pose them right in front of the tree. We'll be right back in just 60 seconds, so please stay tuned.
Hey, step right up. We got TVs, stereos, cruisers. Get them while they're hot. How you gonna pay? No problem. You got a credit card, you got your new toys.
Such temptation. So many wonderful things to buy, and so many bills to pay. But remember, you have choices. Which brand to buy, where to go on your trip, and how to pay the bill.
Be a smart consumer. If your purchase is a small one, consider cash. If you use credit cards, be choosy. They're not all the same. Check interest rates and annual fees. A personal loan or a home equity loan might be an even better choice. But what are the terms, and how much are the monthly payments?
An informed consumer is a smart consumer. If you have questions or complaints, call the State Banking Department's Consumer Hotline. It's toll-free, 1-800-522-3330. Make sure you know as much about paying as he knows about selling.
Hi, welcome back to The Family Pet. We're talking to Jim Westphalen about taking pictures of your pets. And Jim, let's say we've got our animal all set up. We know where we're going to want to put them. What's the first thing we do?
One key thing to remember is you want to set up the shot first. Whatever props you might want to use and whatever lighting you're going to use, get it all ready first. Get your camera set up first if you're going to use a tripod. Get everything set, then bring the animal in. You can't expect to sit the animal in a certain spot and then have it wait for you while you're setting everything up. It's just not going to work.
When you say tripod, why do we need a tripod?
Well, if you're taking indoor shots, I prefer, whenever possible, to use available light, natural light. Indoors, I really like using window light. It works very nicely for the animal. It's very flattering. Most often, the light level is going to be too low to photograph the animal with just handheld, so you're going to have to put it on a tripod. It might seem rather imposing to people, but it's really not, and you'll get that much better picture for it.
Talking about setting up the picture, what type of equipment are we talking about? Can we use a little, Kodak Sure Shot, or are we talking about having to spend hundreds of dollars for an exotic camera?
Okay, the equipment that I use is called a medium format. It's a 2.25 camera. Most people these days have 35mm cameras. You will get your best shots if you have a camera that has interchangeable lenses.
So we're talking about a camera that's a 35mm that you can screw the lens off and put another one on.
That's right. Your longer focal lengths will work best. A telephoto lens at about maybe 135mm, or a medium to long-range zoom, 70 to 210, something in that range works very well for the animal. Your advantages in using your longer focal lengths, of course, would be you don't have to get so close to the animal. And the further back you can stay, the less intimidated the animal will be. Also, when using the long lens, you'll find that your backgrounds will go out of focus more. You have less of a depth of field, and it will accentuate.
Depth of field, what do you mean by that?
Depth of field is the amount of subject, background, and foreground that will be in focus. When you're stopping down, as they say, you'll get a larger depth of field. The smaller the number, the better the depth of field. More of the foreground, the subject, and the background will be in focus. Of course, when you open up to the other extreme, the higher number will be they'll be in focus, and the background, the foreground will be more out of focus.
Why don't we show some of the examples of what you've got for us today? These are all pictures, by the way, taken by Jim. These are pictures. Why don't you describe them for us?
Okay, here's just a nice portrait of a mare and a foal. Notice that the foal in the foreground, again, the body is off to the angle, and he's looking right at me. And it's a nice natural shot out in the pasture.
So you're really using the mother. Well, of course, here's an action shot.
Okay, here's an action shot. When you're going to do any kind of action photography, you want to use a faster film. And what I mean by that is use a 200 ASA or a 400 ASA. A Kodak VR is fine if you're going to shoot print film. This will enable you to freeze the action, as you see here. This particular shot here is done with an infrared film. Once you have your techniques down, you can start using different types of films. Here's a nice portrait of a golden retriever. Notice you have a backlight there. And to the side, what I used was a warm colored reflector. And you can see
Now this is
look there.
This is taken closer up then.
Yes, that's just a nice headshot.
And using the light coming from the back to
The
give
backlight really accentuates the fur and gives it a hair light or a halo effect. And here's a shot. This is actually two different cats. This is a good example of having your camera always ready. If you want to really get some nice animal pictures, have your camera ready and be able to follow it around a bit. You can do some fun stuff here.
What did you do to get this cat?
This is a very good subject, actually. This is one of my cats here. Very patient cat.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Again, we're using backlighting rather than having the flash come directly in
Right,
the cat's face.
and that's just window light. You get a very nice, soft look with window light.
And you can do this without the flash. Without the flash.
Sure, that's with no flash at all.
Do you have to use then? You have to use very fast film.
You can use fast film, but I would recommend, whenever you can, use a slower film, because if you're going to enlarge the pictures, you're going to get a finer grain.
Here's a little Samoyed.
Right.
Okay. Those pictures that you're talking about, in terms of lighting, you mentioned we're not using a flash at all. We don't want to frighten the animal. Because I know every time I take a picture of my cat, I always get two white spots right in the middle of his eyes.
Right. Whenever possible, I like to use available light. Like I said, indoors I like to use window light, and then I use a tripod because it is usually a low light level. Outdoors, you can use the sunlight, but don't have the animal facing directly into the sun. Not only will we get a very flat lighting, no shadowing details to accentuate features and fur, but you'll also have the animal squinting right into the sun, just like a person would. You can turn the animals back to the sun. You get a nice hair light, as we saw in the pictures before. Or very nice lighting would be from the side, one side stronger than the other.
We're going to be right back in 60 seconds, and we're going to give you more tips on how to take beautiful pictures like these of your pets. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back in just 60 seconds.
Did you know that almost 1/5 of our Navy is made up of civilians who leave their jobs on a moment's notice to help defend our country? They are members of the Naval Reserve. They take time off from their jobs to help defend our country. But for them to do that job right, they need time to train. If you're an employer, give them the time they need. With your help, our country will remain strong and ready. Support the National Guard and Reserve. Protect their future while they protect yours.
When I was doing cocaine, I lied to everyone about everything. But worst of all, I lied to myself. I had to be fired from my job before I understood how really sick I was. Shame didn't stop me. Willpower didn't help. I played with death and didn't even care. Anyone who says cocaine's not addictive lies.
Cocaine, the big lie. Call 1-800-662-HELP.
Hi, welcome back to The Family Pet. We're talking with Jim Westphalen about taking pictures of your pet. And Jim, some of the problems I would imagine somebody comes into, let's say, for instance, that they have an all-black cat or something, and
And that does pose a problem. Certain things have to be taken into consideration. Your lighting has to be more direct on a dark-faced animal. Too often, somebody will take a picture and all you'll see are two eyes and a black face, no features. Light it a little more directly. Don't be afraid to use fill flash, just a little bit of a flash. Not only will it light up the face, but you'll get what they call a catch light in the eyes. Gives the animal more life, and that you can use with any animal, actually.
The flash goes directly to them, or should you have one of those things where it comes down from a slightly different angle?
The higher the angle of the flash, the better. As far as you've seen the pictures before where they have the red eyes of the animal, if you can bounce the light off of something, a wall or the ceiling, that's actually better.
Any particular problems that you've seen more often than none?
Problems I often run across are with cats. They're usually very independent and sometimes a little skitterish. So you have to follow them around a bit. You can't always set up the shot just the way you want it. You follow them around, you wait for them to light someplace, and then you shoot. On the other end of the spectrum, you have the very playful or curious puppy who every time you get down to take your shot, you're on your belly there, he comes running at you because he wants to play. Play with him for a while until he gets bored, and then you can think about taking a photograph.
I think we have some beautiful examples of some of the pictures that Jim has taken. If we can roll the tape on this, certainly show some of the really nice stuff. This is, again, you were waiting, I think this was taken in a drawer?
Yeah, it's one of his favorite spots there, so I photographed him in his drawer.
So this is a matter of following the animal around until he decides we go. Gorgeous silhouette here. Again, using your backlighting. Just a beautiful example of artistry, I think. And we have the next one coming up. I do believe. There we are.
That's just taken through a screen.
Oh, it's not snowing outside.
No, it's not snowing.
This is taken in black and white?
Yes. Yeah, black and white can be very moody. Can be very nice.
So you really get a beautiful, beautiful picture of that gorgeous expression.
Again, here the use of window light. Notice how very soft it is.
I think you miss a little bit of this when the picture is taken through the camera, the TV camera, though. I think the actual picture itself is a much softer.
Yeah, it's much larger, too.
And it's a much larger picture. That's we're missing a little bit here, but yeah, I think people can get the idea of this. And of course, the inevitable hiss. Did you do this with a flash, or did you do this?
That's done with a flash, yes. That's be at the right place at the right time.
So we're just waiting for the animal to get upset, and then we snap those beautiful canines coming at you.
Just speaking of flash, when you are using a flash indoors,
Grandma watching TV.
Whenever possible, keep the animal off of the wall or whatever background, because otherwise you're going to cast a shadow onto the wall. Keep it at a better distance.
We have some of the gorgeous stuff that you've done professionally as far as portraits. One of the pictures I think we showed last week actually came from Jim. This is a picture of my receptionist, Mary Beth, and her gorgeous little cat, Diesel there. And this is some of the beautiful portrait work. Background, I think, is so important here. It really, adds a lot to it.
Yeah, be very conscious of your backgrounds. You don't want anything too distracting.
And, of course, the picture of Diesel himself.
Okay.
This again, you got down on his level.
Yeah, I'm on my belly there. And with a longer focal length, you can see how the background and what have you goes out of focus, and it really accentuates the animal.
It's really nice. And, of course, using the backlight, this, I think, is absolutely ideal.
And with the backlight, with the halo effect.
It's coming from back. And then the last one, you use more of an indirect kind of lighting. This is from the top.
Now here, actually, this is a window light. This is a window light with no fill on the shadow side, so it just gives it a little bit more of a dramatic look.
And to do this, you kind of open your lens up a little bit so the background becomes black?
That's correct.
It's really a beautiful shot. Let's talk a little bit about people who go to the zoo or they go to a game farm or something and want to take some pictures there. Any tips that you can give them as far as that?
Yeah, there's, again, with all animal photography, the longer lens really works well. In a zoo, you don't have much choice. If you can use a longer lens, do so because the animal is usually further away. Use a very wide open f-stop. Therefore, the bars in the foreground or cage, whatever the animal is in, they won't be in focus. Also, don't use a flash. If you're going to, even if it's dark inside the cage, don't use a flash to shoot inside the cage, because all you're going to get in your photograph are the bars lit up in the foreground. And it's a lot of fun photographing in zoos. And
One interesting book that I just recently picked up, it's called How to Photograph Dogs and Cats and Other Animals. It's by Walter Cadona. This was lent to us by Mrs. Cronky over at the Syosset Camera Shop. And it's a neat little book. It kind of gives a lot of information about dogs and cats and about photographing them. And certainly was a lot of fun to read. And Jim, I certainly thank you for coming on the show and showing us your gorgeous pictures. Jim does have a brochure that he puts out, Picture Your Pet, and that's the name of his company, Picture Your Pet. We have the address here for you, with a phone number. That's Picture Your Pet, 20 Forest Avenue in Brookhaven, and his phone number is 286-0987. And Jim, we certainly thank you for coming all the way out.
It's my pleasure.
And really enjoy seeing your beautiful pictures.
Thank you.
We also have our address if you'd like to send us some comments about the show or anything you'd like to see on the show, The Family Pet, News 12 Long Island, One Media Crossways, Woodbury, New York, 11797. And this is Dr. Jonathan Greenfield for The Family Pet, hoping you and yours have a lovely weekend. Bye now.
Hello and hi, I'm Roger Rose from VH1 Video Hits 1, and it is no secret that I like contemporary